it's an hour long. It's the entire FNAF timeline by Fuhnaff, FUHNAFF. I'll link him down below. I assume this is gonna be a crazy video. This came recommended actually by someone on YouTube. Let me see if I can pull up that comment real quick. So this one, FNAF's timeline came recommended from Ryuta on YouTube on the FNAF VHS video. So thank you Ryu for this one. It's gonna be fun. I love FNAF. I am familiar with the game. I am familiar with the timeline, but I never fully understand it. So it'll be interesting to watch FNAF's interpretation. Oh, I'm also joined by my friend Javelin. He is a seagull. That's him over there.
Hello, everyone.
He was here. He was here for the 1,000-player Civ video for half of that after Mana had to go. So he's not entirely a new character around here.
I'm subbing in for Mana again. She's got stuff to do.
She's got an actual job for once. Can you believe
Imagine.
it? We're so proud of her.
I'm proud, but also, can you imagine having a real job?
Gross. Imagine not getting to be a lead clown on the internet. I'd vomit. Alright, you ready?
I'm ready.
I'm ready. I'm ready. Hi, backup Mana's crazy.
You're not wrong. Hi, Ari.
All back, all of them, together in one place.
Already
Five Nights at
so
Freddy's
hooked
is a
in.
franchise with over a decade's worth of content,
This is
spanning countless games,
really good
books,
animation.
and now a movie. There's a reason that no matter whose timeline you watch, they all look different. Making a FNAF timeline is not easy. There are so many ways you can interpret this story, and this is mine.
Let's
so
see
let's
it.
start at the beginning.
Oh, thank you for the
Back in the
follow!
70s, a
Destroyer,
company
thank you for the
called
follow!
Fazbear Entertainment got its start by creating different props and mascot costumes for carnivals, and specifically for something called the Fall Fest.
Oh, this does
the Fall
have-
Fest featured various mascot
whoa.
characters, such as a bird, an elephant,
I was not
and the
ready
most
for
popular
Mimic
of
lore.
all, Fredbear and Bonnie. These specific
That's
mascot
really
costumes
fast.
were so popular, Fazbear Entertainment opened a dedicated restaurant for them called Fredbear's Family Diner, featuring the same Fredbear and Bonnie mascot costumes from the Fall Fest. What Fazbear Entertainment didn't account for, though, was one of their animatronics from the Fall Fest going rogue, ending in a giant fire, with most of everything from the Fall Fest being destroyed.
I'm so
Wait, so it
hooked!
does have everything.
I'm so hooked!
I can't believe it. Was the Jack in the Box and every All Fest revealed before you could do the Mimic?
Yeah, there is like a trailer, so it wasn't like, that's probably where he's getting some of the information mixed with the VR games, I'd imagine.
Oh. He's on top of it.
The specifics about the animatronic that went rogue and the fire are unknown, and
See.
will likely be revealed next year in FNAF's next big release.
Yeah.
Although we don't know much
Oh,
about
there it
how
is.
this fire occurred, we do know that after the fire, Fazbear Entertainment started phasing out of the mascot costume era. They needed something new. The two men who helped found Fazbear Entertainment, William Afton and Henry Emily, stepped up to the plate. William Afton was mostly the businessman of the two, handling all of the money, while Henry was the more creative one, with him being in charge of building most of the animatronics and props for the company. With the Fall Fest era of the company coming to a close, they were only left with Fredbear's Family Diner, the standalone restaurant created for the Fredbear and Bonnie characters.
Oh,
In
this
order
is
to
where the
replace
golden
mascot versions
animatronics
of Fredbear
come
and Bonnie,
from.
Henry went to work on new versions of the characters, eventually creating the new Fredbear and Spring Bonnie. The same
like
characters,
that.
but with new designs and new suits. Henry called them Springlock suits. These suits are able to double as both an animatronic and a suit that the employees could wear. To switch the suit from animatronic mode to suit mode, the employees
a little
could use
creepy.
a hand crank to pull back the animatronic parts, leaving room for them to climb inside. The spring locks that were helping to hold back those animatronic parts were very sensitive though, and with even a little bit of moisture, the spring locks could potentially snap shut, crushing and killing whoever was inside. But if that ended up happening, Fazbear Entertainment had some common sense procedures set in place.
In case that the spring locks come loose while you are wearing a suit, please try to maneuver away from populated areas before bleeding out. as to not ruin the customer experience.
It would be quite
Fredbear's
rude.
Diner ended up being super successful for William.
I'm
and
glad they
Henry,
were thinking
so
of the
much so that
customers.
other
Mhm.
companies
Guest
tried
experience is
replicating
key.
it. Another company proceeded to rip off
Exactly.
Fazbear Entertainment's old mascot characters by creating their own animatronic versions of them. The leader of the group was Ned Bear, a direct copy of Fredbear, followed by a hippo, an elephant, and a frog. All characters from the Fall Fest, and all with slightly different designs to avoid copyright issues. But while the rival company was able to replicate the designs, they could
wonder how
not
common
replicate
this is.
Henry's state-of-the-art technology. Their robots were poorly made and had to have giant batteries with exposed wires on stage with them. Naturally, the rival company failed and ended up being bought out by Fazbear Entertainment. With all of the success from Fredbear's Family Diner,
Eating out in
William
front of
and Henry
customers is
decided to
kinda
branch out
cringe.
and create more characters for a new restaurant. In 1983, William and Henry opened Freddy Fazbear's Pizza.
Yeah, they
featuring
did.
Freddy Fazbear, Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy. With the opening of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, Fazbear Entertainment was experiencing success like they've never seen before. But with two restaurants now open at the same time, more success also meant more work for William and Henry. The duo were so wrapped up in work that they started neglecting their own families. William was the father of 3 kids, the eldest, Michael, the crying child, and Elizabeth. The crying child has yet to have a 100% confirmed name, so for this video, he will just be called the crying child.
Makes
Meanwhile,
sense.
Henry had
That's like one of the
kid,
biggest
a
mysteries
daughter
in the
named
game, I
Charlie.
feel
The
like.
business partners spent most of their days working, so they both created different ways of taking care of their kids. Henry was the robotics genius, so he used his talents to create a new animatronic to watch Charlie for him. It was called the security puppet. This
Puppet's gotta be one
animatronic
of my
would sit by the
favorites in
door
the
of Freddy
series.
Fazbear's Pizza and make sure that
I
Charlie
did puppet
wasn't
cosplays
able
all
to
the
leave
time.
the building. This made it so Charlie could
It's
play at
such
the
like a
restaurant
good
while
design.
Henry worked,
Yeah.
without Henry having to worry about her leaving the building or getting kidnapped. The robot was linked directly to a green bracelet that Charlie was
So I
wearing.
didn't know
If
he had
Charlie,
a
wearing the green bracelet,
daughter.
tried
I thought he
leaving
had
the
a son
building,
in
the
Secret of
security
the
puppet
Mimic.
would
Oh,
spring
is that a
into
different
action.
character?
William, on
That's,
the other hand, was the
that's a different
businessman of the
character. That's,
company. He cared more about making money,
what's his
but
fart?
also saving money. Naturally, he decided
That's fart. Who was it in Mimic?
Okay, I know he developed a lot of the technology.
The guy in Mimic, who made the Mimic, that was. Thank you, Toxie. Thank you. No, it was Edwin. It was like a whole other guy.
Edwin!
decided to just force his eldest son Michael to babysit while he was at work. Michael was mostly in charge of babysitting the crying child. The crying child didn't have many friends, but he did have a close relationship with his
Get
plushies.
dunked on,
These
kid.
plushies were of characters from his
Yeah.
favorite show,
Lame.
Fredbear and
No wonder
Friends,
he's crying.
Fazbear Entertainment's newest cartoon, featuring Fredbear, Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy. The crying child's favorite character, though, was Fredbear. He especially loved his Fredbear plushie. Although he loved the plushie version of the characters, the animatronics would soon become a different story. One day, while visiting Fredbear's family diner, the crying child saw something that would scar him for the rest of his life.
Rip,
While
bozo.
wandering the restaurant, he walked by the employees only room, where an employee accidentally left the door open. Inside the room was his father, William Afton, helping another employee into a spring Bonnie suit. But through the eyes of the crying child, this looked like someone was literally being stuffed into an animatronic suit.
So that's
crying
that's
child
the
was
angle
so
he's
young
going.
that
Okay.
He wasn't educated on how the mascot character.
Oh, wait, so is it
worked.
unsure,
seeing
like,
a human be put
If
inside
he
of
died or not?
No, so that's just like an employee moment, and but sometimes people say that like that's where the idea of people being stuffed in the suits come from. Sometimes it's just like whatever. So I think that's like the direction FNAF is taking it. That like I don't know. We'll have
'Cause
to
I
see.
knew
We'll have
he
to see.
was stuck in the suit. Yeah.
one
I'm learning.
terrified him. When a child
I didn't realize you
experiences
didn't know that
something
as this
traumatic,
much
their
about the
brain
lore.
naturally tries finding ways
I've
to
seen,
deal with
like,
that
game
trauma. The
theory
crying
years
child's way
ago.
of dealing with his trauma
But I
was
haven't
by
kept up with it.
creating an imaginary friend. This imaginary friend took the form of the object he loved the most, his Fredbear plushie. His new imaginary friend Fredbear followed him wherever he went, shape-shifting into flowers, hiding behind
He's here,
cars,
he's
and
there,
in the
he's
sewers, with
everywhere.
nobody
Who
being
you
able
gonna
to
call?
see him
Second
except
friend
for the crying
Fredbear.
child. When the crying child was overwhelmed, the plushie would talk to him and try to calm him down.
Oh,
Even
I
when the
actually remember
plushie
this
wasn't
minigame, though.
around,
It was so
still
creepy.
able to speak to him.
I loved the
because it
FNAF
lived
4
in his
like
mind.
8-bit
While the crying
games.
child
It was
dealing with
it was so
trauma
good
of
the way they
seeing
made the
what he
restaurant,
thinks
everything.
was someone being stuffed
It
into
was
a
so-
suit,
I-
his
I
brother
love those
Michael
little
was
touches in
only
picture
making it
games.
worse. Michael knew about what happened with his younger brother and used it against him. Every day while babysitting the crying child, Michael would put on a Foxy mask, hide somewhere in the house, and jump scare his little brother.
What a dick.
From the pizzeria to your living room, you no longer have to wait to sing and dance with Fredbear and Friends. Weeknights at 8, 7 Central. Only on...
Oh.
The brother's too good at this.
The brother knows how to set a horror scene.
God damn it.
Did you get caught?
The crying
She got
child's
me.
imaginary friend Fredbear would comfort him and talk him
I
through
knew
the
it was coming
situation,
too.
saying, "You know he is hiding again. Be careful. Tomorrow is another day." Michael wasn't the only one bullying the crying child, though. The local kids in the neighborhood heard about why the crying child was so scared of the pizzeria. Even
I
making
all
up fake
dunked on him.
rumors related to what the crying child thought he saw there. "You'd better watch out. I hear they come to life at night. And if you die, they hide your body and never tell anyone." But all of this bullying would come to a head on one special day, the crying child's birthday. Ironically, his birthday party was being
Hi, guys.
held at Fredbear's family diner. Because he was so terrified of being at the pizzeria, he hid under the table, not knowing that Michael and his friends were nearby, planning a prank that would go terribly wrong.
Oh, did he try to get into the spring lock suit?
Make sure you grab your pizza. Fredbear and Spring Bonnie will be
Is that Matt Pat?
5 minutes.
It does sound like Matt Pat. Oh no. Ugh.
Michael and his friends
Was that
lifted
the
crying
bite of
child up
87?
to give Fredbear a big kiss, and Fredbear
They give it a
bit
half-ass
down on
thing.
him, leaving his body to go limp. Michael and his friends quickly stopped laughing. Because of Michael's immature behavior, his terrified younger brother paid the ultimate price. Although the crying child was badly hurt, he didn't immediately die. Because of the immense brain damage, he slipped into a coma. After being treated at a hospital, the crying child was taken home so he could be comfortable, surrounded by his only friends, his plushies. In the crying child's final moments, Michael decides to apologize for what he's done, saying, "Can you hear me? I don't know if you can hear me. I'm sorry." After Michael speaks, the crying child's imaginary friend Fredbear, created out of the trauma he experienced, continues doing what it's done the whole time. It comforts him, saying, "You're broken. We are still your friends. Do you still believe that? I'm still here. I will put you back together." This would be the final thing the crying child hears before he dies. The crying child's spirit would then live on in the Fredbear suit, the thing that took his life. The crying child's death wasn't just an accident. It was directly caused by Michael's recklessness. This is something that Michael could potentially face jail time for, so it needed to be covered up. Since the crying child was being kept at home, no one else knew that he ended up passing away. So William and Michael ended up burying the crying child's body in the middle of the woods where no one would find him. No tombstone,
didn't-
no flowers, just a pile of dirt,
I
an
didn't know
unmarked
that's what that
grave, and a
was.
lifetime's worth of guilt that Michael
Interesting.
would have to live with. Shortly after the incident,
That's
Fredbear's
a very
family diner
interesting
was
take.
quickly shut down, and Fredbear was completely
Wasn't there a
wiped
third
from
child?
existence. The Fredbear and
The
Friends
daughter,
studio
yeah.
turned into Freddy and Friends on tour. The Fredbear and Spring Bonnie Springlock suits also ended up being moved into the back room of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, mainly being used as spare suits if one of the Freddy's animatronics broke down. The death of William Afton's youngest son was a pivotal moment in this story, specifically William Afton's story. This was the first domino to fall. A father losing his son is a traumatic situation.
So he
and while
thinks-
any
okay,
other
hang
father
on.
would take time to grieve, be sad, and
Yeah,
properly
what's
deal
up?
with.
So he's saying here that the first dead child was the crying child, as opposed to what the general consensus I feel like being was that it was Charlie. But
Wait, yeah,
but-
Charlie's the daughter of. I haven't mentioned Charlie yet.
but they briefly mentioned her as the daughter of Henry. I
Yeah.
feel like I bet he's gonna go into and say how like this made William snap and then he killed Charlie. Okay, that's what I think it is. I think Charlie's the first victim of William. But I think
Yeah, because the son's an accident, and then that's
Yes,
what makes
and that's
Afton
what-
snap,
okay.
and then
That's
Charlie he murders.
that's probably where I think it's going. I think that's where it's gonna go. Okay. Alright, look back in. Does the Charlie become the puppet?
Afton's like,
Yeah.
You will feel my pain.
Charlie becomes the puppet, and I think is like the first to die from William's hand. Sorry, I gotta get a hoodie back on. It got cold. I'm always so hot at the start of stream because of the adrenaline, and then I calm down.
Such a big loss, William Afton took a different route. Afton definitely was upset about his son dying, but it wasn't because he felt bad for his son, it was because it was embarrassing to him. William Afton was a narcissist. He had little to no empathy. All he cared about was work
Imagine
and
your
comparing
kid gets
himself to
murdered
his
and you're like,
business
this is
partner,
so
Henry. Henry
cringe.
had a wife, a kid, and a talent for robotics that
He's like,
Afton was utterly
son,
jealous
you
of.
killed
The
my
death
other
of the
son. That's
crying
bad for
child
our
sent Afton
reputation.
over the edge, because while Henry's family was still perfect, his was now broken.
Picture the
Henry and William
optics.
had different ways of taking
No
care
wonder
of
his
their
son was a
kids.
dick.
And while Afton employing his eldest son failed, Henry's security puppet succeeded. Henry's daughter, Charlie, lived on. Afton had a hard time dealing with this feeling of embarrassment. He started becoming an alcoholic, frequently visiting the local bar called Junior's. One night, though, after drinking a little too much and getting kicked out of the bar, he decided that he was going to settle the score with Henry. Afton, drunk and filled with rage, drove from the bar to Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, where he knew Charlie was being watched over by Henry's security puppet. Afton planned on risking everything to kill Henry's daughter, Charlie. He didn't care if he got caught, and he didn't care if he went to prison. But when Afton got to Freddy's, he noticed that Charlie was standing outside by herself. It turned out that some bullies were able to trap the security puppet in its box and lock Charlie outside the building, giving Afton the perfect opportunity to kill Charlie outside of the pizzeria. The security puppet was eventually able to escape its box and went looking for Charlie. As Afton sped away, the puppet noticed that Charlie was outside in the pouring rain. It then did what it was programmed to do and went to protect her.
I cannot
But as
wait to see the
got
puppet in
closer
the
to
second
Charlie's
movie.
body, the rain started making it short circuit. It was forced to crawl its way over to her until the rain got to be too much, and the puppet shut down right next to Charlie's
Aw.
body. While Charlie
I like
and the
the
puppet lay
puppet.
lifeless next to each other, Afton was speeding home, driving right past where he buried his son and the bar he got kicked out of. When Afton got home, he was met with his wife sitting in the living room watching TV, and Michael in his bedroom. Afton was
Oh,
a
that so
blunt and
his take
abusive
is as
father,
his
and
what?
fully blamed
Okay.
Michael for
Lot
what
of
happened
interesting
to his
choices
youngest
in
son.
what he's
Mrs.
deciding
Afton
here.
tells him to leave Michael alone because he's had a tough
what's
day.
the other
but
theory
Afton
on
doesn't
that
listen.
person?
He goes over to Michael's room and pounds on.
What?
What's the other theory on that person in the chair?
That is Michael.
Okay. And then behind the door, I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, well, he says behind the door is Michael. I don't know the other option there. Okay, all right.
I guess it could have been the wife behind the door. Or he's talking to Charlie's body.
Puppet Precious Baby. Puppet's my favorite. I'm so excited for the second movie. Like I said in Discord, that week the streams are going to be all over the place because I'm seeing it at least like 5 times.
on the door, only for the door to be locked. He then makes his way around the house to try and find a way in from the outside. But once he gets to Michael's bedroom window, he notices that it's broken, and Michael is gone. Michael was so upset by what he did to his brother that he would sometimes see visions of Fredbear appear and disappear.
Look at the
Tonight,
follow.
Fredbear appeared outside his bedroom window, and it almost felt like his brother was calling out to him from beyond the grave. This would happen frequently, and every time it did, Michael would run to the spot where they buried his younger brother, only to find that nothing had changed. His younger brother was still gone and buried in the ground. Afton knew Michael did this often, saying, "Ran off to that place again. He will be sorry when he gets back." The guilt of killing his younger
okay.
brother haunted Michael in his real life, but also in his dreams. Michael would
I
constantly
kinda
have
like some of the
nightmares about
directions
the
she's taking
animatronic
this.
that took his brother's life. These were the
Yeah.
exact same
I'm glad
nightmares
Michael
his
feels
younger
regret.
brother used to have every night.
Oh, for sure.
Now passed on to
He's not as
him.
bad as his dad.
Creepy.
Big brother. It's my turn to scare you.
It's me, Michael.
Boo! I'm under your bed.
Uh-oh.
Alright, I'm ready this time.
I think it's gonna be a fake out. I take it back.
After the death of Charlie, Fazbear Entertainment tried their best at covering it up. Fortunately for them and for William, the crime
Afton's
was
a
committed
master at
outside,
covering up
where
stuff.
no one was around to witness it. William was able to get away with everything.
Of
while
course.
Fazbear Entertainment never spoke of the incident again. The security puppet was quickly moved to the back room of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza,
The back
where
rooms?
the retired Fredbear and Spring Bonnie suits resided.
Oh.
But something was different about the security puppet. Dark tears now appeared on the mask of the animatronic. Dark tears that weren't there before. This is something that
Okay.
Afton quickly noticed the next day when he went into work. He'd heard about what happened moments after he sped off. He knew the security puppet was found laying next to Charlie's body. So does that mean
Interesting.
Charlie's soul now resided in the puppet? William definitely noticed that the puppet looked different, almost like it was haunted, almost like it was thinking. Other employees would eventually notice the same thing.
I'll be honest, I never liked that puppet thing. It's always thinking, and it can go anywhere.
After realizing the security puppet may be possessed by the spirit of Charlie, Afton went back and looked at the crying
Describing it
child's
as
Fredbear
thinking
plushie,
is
only
crazy.
to
That's so
find that
horrifying.
It also seemed to be haunted. The crying child feared for his life every single day, and that
It also
plushie
kinda
was
makes
something he was
sense,
able
because,
to
I mean,
cry
it
and
was
pour
also
his
like an
agony
AI,
into.
wasn't it?
Afton believed that
it was
this is what
protecting
caused
Charlie?
the plushie to appear
Yeah.
haunted. It wasn't made alive by the spirit of his son, it was made alive by the agony and fear his son poured into it. Afton quickly became obsessed with the concept of haunted objects, and more specifically, the power of human emotion. He needed to find out if this is something he could take advantage of. Afton
Of
then
course.
used all of his money he made from Fredbear's and Freddy Fazbear's Pizza to build a giant underground facility directly under his house. It was here that he would try to recreate what happened with his son, to recreate the fear and agony he experienced. In order to do this, Afton didn't take any chances. He needed to replicate exactly what his son went through every day. In order
Michael
to
Jack,
do this, Afton
welcome
built a
in.
replica of his house underground, along with his son's daily walk to Fredbear's family diner. He
Oh,
also
so
built
he-
a makeshift bedroom where he could force kids to have the same nightmare every night.
He's saying that he rebuilt all this stuff underground. That's a very interesting theory.
How does that work with the windows? Like, did the windows go anywhere?
It's a very good point. Alright, I kind of like some of the choices he's making here.
It's interesting to see.
Yeah.
I mean, for me,
Afton would
it's
sit in
the
his
only one
office
I
watching them
remember.
on the cameras that could be accessed using the passcode 1983, the year his son got bit. He also kept the crying child's Fredbear plushie on the desk as a reminder of what he was trying to replicate. In the makeshift bedroom, there were dummy animatronics
Debbie,
that
welcome in.
wheeled down the hallway. But the kids wouldn't see them as just blank dummies on wheels. Afton would pump hallucinogenic gas into the room to get the kids to think that what they were seeing was a monster. These nightmare gas canisters were being stored all throughout his underground facility, and on the bed of this makeshift bedroom was a Freddy plushie, in the hopes that the kids would pour their fear and agony into the plush, like his son did to his plushie.
Interesting
On the
take.
other side of the bunker, where Afton recreated the crying child's walk to Fredbear's, he placed a bunch of Fredbear plushies all over the place. These Fredbear plushies had walkie-talkies inside of them. This was Afton's way of recreating his son's imaginary friend that would talk to him wherever he went. Afton would speak to the kids through his walkie-talkie sitting in his private office. After setting up the bunker, Afton was only missing one more thing: the kids to run these experiments on. He needed a way to kidnap and capture kids without being caught, and he had the perfect way
sister
to do it.
location.
Captain, you're saying those are oxygen tanks? I feel like they're, was that ever, I don't think it's ever been confirmed what those are. If it's just like those gas canisters for the creepy stuff, that's horrifying. Is it just another theory? Yeah, this is FNAF's timeline of it all.
It's just a theory. A FNAF theory.
Alright, let's keep going.
The show will begin momentarily. Everyone, please stay in your seats.
Enter Circus Baby and the Funtime animatronics. These robots
best
were
group!
specifically
The
built
best
by
group!
Afton to capture kids, featuring Circus Baby, Funtime Freddy, Funtime
You know, that
Foxy,
ballerina
and
kinda thing.
Fedora. They feature advanced
Would.
technologies such as parental tracking, voice mimicking / luring, and storage tanks. Circus Baby,
9
the
out of
star of
10.
the group, was even able to make ice cream as a way to lure kids to her. Once the kid got too close, a giant claw would reach out, grab them, and lock them in the animatronics storage tank. Some of the board members from Fazbear Entertainment were suspicious of these new animatronics.
She can dance. She can sing. She's equipped with a built-in helium tank for inflating balloons right at her fingertips. She can take song requests. She can even dispense ice cream.
With all due respect, those aren't the design choices we were curious about, Mr. Afton.
Afton
God, that
even
is such a
created
good way
new
to start
restaurant
the
for these
Sister
animatronics
Location
called
game.
Circus Baby's Pizza
Sister
World.
Location's
Elizabeth,
probably my
William
favorite
Afton's
FNAF
daughter,
game.
was
One of them before
fascinated by
Mimic.
Circus Baby. All she wanted to do was play with her, but Afton wouldn't let her.
Seen gameplay of that one. That one looked like the first time they got more into the gameplay aspect. That looked fun.
Why won't you let me go?
He strictly told her to stay away from the animatronics, but one day, she didn't listen. On the opening day of Circus Baby's Pizza World, another domino would fall in Afton's life, and Elizabeth would soon be the victim of his terrible misdeeds.
I can do something special. Did you know that?
Oh.
I can make ice cream.
Yeah,
Although
okay.
I only did it once. What a wonderful day, though. I was in a small room with balloons and a few tables. I would always count the children. I'm not sure why. They usually played together in groups of 2 or 3. There were 4, then 3, then 2, then 1.
Maybe I should replay Sister Location for Spooky Month, because it's probably one of the best FNAF games.
Watch that. Oh, baby seems so sad. Also, Elizabeth must have been really young if she forgot her brother. Or she didn't ask about him.
It's a good point.
Something happened when there was one. I was no longer myself. There was screaming for a moment, but only for a moment.
In an instant, Elizabeth was grabbed by Circus Baby and thrown into her stomach hatch. The sheer force of her being grabbed and thrown into the robot's storage tank was enough to kill her almost instantly. This is something that William wasn't able to test. That was until his daughter became the test. William Afton now lost another one of his kids, but this time it was all his fault. After just one day of being open, Circus Baby's Pizza World was shut down. Afton covered up the incident by telling the
He's a
public that the
master at
restaurant
covering
shut
up.
down due to gas leaks. But not everyone bought that story. The local newspaper wrote about the incident, saying, in other news, the grand opening of Circus Baby's Pizza World has apparently been canceled due to reported gas leaks in the building. Sources close to the establishment questioned the report, saying that strange activity around the area at night suggests something else is to blame. One local was quoted as saying, everything just stopped. There was so much excitement built around this place opening, and then they just stopped talking about it. A tenant from across the street claims to have witnessed a large group of cars surrounding the building during the night, and large pieces of equipment being taken out of the building under tarps. A few weeks later, the building was for sale. There is no comment yet from the local entrepreneur who financed
That's a very
the
good
venture.
point. They
That
just
local
all just
entrepreneur,
disappears.
William Afton successfully covered up everything. He was able to
Wait, they
bring
referred
Circus
to him as
Baby
just
and the
local
Funtime
entrepreneur.
animatronics back down into his
Did
Yeah.
he open it anonymously?
Probably, or like under a different name or whatever.
That would make sense.
As he got them there, he noticed something was different about Circus Baby. One distinct feature about Circus Baby was her blue eyes. But what once was blue eyes now were green, the same color as Elizabeth's. In that moment, he knew that his daughter's soul attached itself to the robot. Her soul lived on in Circus Baby. Afton knew that the way Charlie went on to possess the puppet was sloppy, and it was hard to recreate without getting caught. But what if the kids' bodies were hidden where no one would ever look? What if, just like his daughter, their bodies were stuffed into the animatronics? For Afton, Elizabeth's death quickly went from just another inconvenience to a scientific breakthrough. Afton was one step closer to harnessing the power of life itself. But one successful experiment wasn't enough. Just like the fear experiments he built in the bunker, he needed to replicate exactly what happened. He needed to recreate the accident, and he knew exactly how he was going to do it. Using the Funtime animatronics again wasn't an option. Circus Baby's Pizza World was shut down, and the public was already getting too suspicious of the animatronics. But he didn't need the Funtime animatronics. He was going to run the experiment himself. On June 26, 1985, William Afton made his way to Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. There, he would put on the old spring Bonnie suit from Fredbear's to lure 5 kids into the back room.
Took a swim with my new
Hi, Majora. Hi, Nocturnal.
didn't care how you jumped.
Oh, I don't want to watch this.
This is really heartbreaking. Hello.
Looking for a friend?
The water's clear, come swim with me.
This is sad as sugar. Jesus Christ.
Imagine like having the funnest day of your life and then this. Oh, not his kids' plushies.
One by one, Afton killed them and stuffed their
I'm glad
bodies
they cut
into
that
the
off where they did. I
animatronics.
didn't want to
Susie
have
was
to watch
first,
every
being
kid get
stuffed
lured.
into
That was going to be
Chica.
depressing
Gabriel
as
went
hell.
into Freddy, Jeremy into Bonnie, Fritz into Foxy, and then there was Cassidy,
they
who
even have
went into
names.
Fredbear, aka
Oh, yeah.
Golden Freddy. At this point, Afton had no idea that the crying child's spirit was in Golden Freddy, so he didn't think twice about shoving Cassidy in there. The way Afton killed Cassidy, though, was different from the rest. Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy were just regular animatronics. Afton had no choice but to kill them, then stuff them into the suits. But Golden Freddy wasn't just a regular animatronic, it was a Springlock suit. The same Springlock suit that took his youngest son's life. Afton was aware of how dangerous the Springlocks were. Any bit of moisture or too much movement would cause them to snap shut, slowly killing whoever was inside. So that's exactly what he did to Cassidy. He put him into the suit and watched as the Springlocks snapped shut, cementing Cassidy's death as the most brutal of them all. Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, Foxy, and Golden Freddy weren't the only animatronics sitting in the back room of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, though. They were joined by the security puppet, which contained the soul of Henry's daughter, Charlie. Once Afton was gone, Charlie jumped into action. almost acting as a guide for their souls, properly giving them life inside of each animatronic. After the incident, the kids were quickly reported missing by their families, and although the security cameras caught Afton luring the kids away, he wasn't able to fully get in trouble. Since he was wearing the spring Bonnie suit, they were never able to prove it was actually him. Afton also hid the kids' bodies where no one would ever look, so the bodies were never found. Unbelievably, Afton was able to get away with yet another crime. Because of all the bad press that came from the missing children,
police in this town
people
suck.
stopped coming to the pizzeria after months of customers no longer showing up.
They say something to the effect of like, they searched the entire place and they couldn't find the kids. As if like, you'd think they would search the robots. Like, if they really searched up and down every corner, they would have searched inside the robots.
You'd think they would have brought like dogs or something to sniff out for the bodies.
Right,
And the dogs
like-
would have definitely gone crazy at the robots.
Like, I'm all for forgiving lazy writing or whatever, but that was just like, all right, are we being so for real right now? They looked everywhere and they didn't think maybe the robots. Not once they didn't think maybe the giant robots. The most
Like, just
realistic
say that
part
the police
of
force is lazy.
most realistic part of FNAF is how incompetent the police department is. I mean, I didn't, yeah. But at the same time, if 5 kids got caught on cameras being lured away in that restaurant, they're bringing the dogs in. We're talking
100%.
about the American police force, which is like basically the 4th largest army in the world. Anyway.
There's also going to be blood spillage, right?
A little bit. That's why they shut down eventually, is because of the smell. And that's the other thing. If you get reports of the smell, oh, they're shutting that place down. They're shutting that place down. So they're bringing the dogs in if they have a smell. Okay. Let's just walk through this timeline. Afton gets caught on footage luring kids into a back room. The police come, they search the restaurant, they don't find anything. A week later, people start complaining about the restaurant because the robots have a putrid smell and they're oozing. The police aren't coming back now? Are you goddamn kidding me?
I'm saying we did all we could.
Right, like, you'd be surprised, Cap, and you're probably right. I'm probably giving them too much credit, but it's like, especially if you already searched and then there's reports of the smell, I feel like that would be enough to get one guy to be like, hey, boss, did we ever bring the dogs by Fred Biggers or Fredix or whatever?
We just searched all over the kitchen. There's some good pizza in the back. But what are we doing here again?
1 kiss die, 2 you investigate, 3 you die, 4 new places built, repeat the steps. That's fair too. It's really like Saul coded like that. Wait, okay. Here, okay. Blumhouse is who made Saw, and they're also doing the FNAF movies. Can we please get like a Saw level soap opera out of the FNAF movies, please? Like, I want every time a new officer is introduced, I want them to die in that movie. I want the villain to be like entangled and new villains popping up every time that we're secretly working with Afton the whole time. I want it to be the most goddamn convoluted soap opera plot ever over the course of 10 movies. Please. 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 Oh my god, it would be so good. It would be so goddamn good. People would probably hate it, but I think people would eventually come to love the camp of it, like the Saw movies.
Fazbear Entertainment officially shut down Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. Shortly after the pizzeria shut down, Afton decided to pull the Funtime animatronics out of retirement and finally get his underground facility fully operational. He knew he couldn't try opening another Circus Babies restaurant, so he had a new idea.
Due to the massive success and even more so the unfortunate closing of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, it was clear that the stage was set, no pun intended, for another contender in children's entertainment. Unlike most entertainment venues, our robotic entertainers are rented out for private parties during the day.
Afton opened Circus Babies Entertainment and Rental. This way, he could rent out the Funtime animatronics to local birthday parties, capture kids, and bring them back to his underground bunker to be experimented on. While Afton
Sister
was running his
Location
rental
went
business,
crazy with the
Fazbear
lore. It got
Entertainment
so
was
dark and
determined
so
to try
real.
opening another pizzeria. In the summer of 1987, Fazbear Entertainment opened the new and improved Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, this time with brand new versions of their original characters. These were called the Toy Animatronics, and they were once again built by Henry. Henry was aware of what happened in 1985, and especially of what happened to his daughter, so he was determined to make sure that never happened again. These new toy animatronics were equipped with facial recognition systems that were linked directly to a criminal database. The security puppet was also brought out of retirement, but instead of working security, it sat quietly in the prize corner. Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, Foxy, Golden Freddy, and Spring Bonnie were also moved to the new pizzeria, and it's revealed that these animatronics were mostly used for spare parts.
By now, I'm sure you've noticed the older models sitting in the back room. Those are from the previous location, and we just use them for parts now. The idea at first was to repair them, but they were just so ugly, you know? And the smell.
This means that the haunted metal of the original Freddy's animatronics was now being put into the toy animatronics, causing the toys to also now be possessed. After Afton got away
That's
with
a pretty
the
good
first set of
theory. I like
murders,
that
he
one.
needed to see if the kids' spirits were possessing the animatronics. In order to see for himself, Afton went back to work at the new pizzeria as a daytime security guard. While Afton was working the day shift, Jeremy Fitzgerald was working the night shift. Jeremy worked there for 5 nights, and unfortunately for him, because the kids possessing the animatronics were killed by an adult, they were extremely aggressive to any adult they encountered.
They interact with the kids just fine, but when they encounter an adult, they just stare.
Meanwhile, Afton decided to pull the same trick he did at the old Freddy's location, gaining 5 more victims.
Someone used one of the suits. We had a spare in the back, a yellow one. Someone used it.
Afton used the spring.
That tape, for no reason in particular, me and my younger sibling quote at each other like all the time. Like, we'll just think, what are you doing here? Didn't you get the memo? The place was closed down, at least for a while. I don't know why, but that's just one of our things we do.
What's the context? Like, what brings that up? It's like, oh yeah, the place was closed down. Creepy phone call voice.
Well, it's after the bite of 87. But for my sibling and I, it's just completely random. Like, this is like back when I lived at home, but
Did y'all used to watch FNAF together?
oh yeah, all the time. They would watch me play the VR games, the other games. When Pizzeria Sim came out, we locked in and played that together. It was a lot of fun.
Bonnie suit to pull the same stunt again on 5 more kids. But as he was committing the murders, Charlie from inside the puppet was actively trying to save the kids. She tried enlisting the help of the other animatronics, but it was too late. Afton had already finished what he started. Not only that, him seeing the puppet and Freddy walking around the pizzeria trying to stop him was all the proof he needed that his experiments were successful. The kids he put into the original suits were haunting the animatronics. But there was one problem. Afton knew that the haunted metal of the endoskeletons was the key to everything, but the animatronics were trapped at the pizzeria. There was no way he could bring them back to his underground bunker. He couldn't get to the animatronics if the pizzeria was still open and active, so he needed to find a way to make sure the pizzeria shuts down.
Oh, you're sharing something else.
Instead of stuffing the new set of victims into the toy animatronics,
Is
he
it good?
decided to leave the kids out in
no,
plain
just
sight,
pause. No, you're good.
scattered throughout the pizzeria. This was a guaranteed way to get the pizzeria shut down. A few hours after Afton committed the murders, Jeremy Fitzgerald showed up for his night shift, unaware of what
So this is the
happened that
original
day.
game.
This is FNAF 2 at this point.
What are you doing there? Did you get the memo?
See, I know this call like word for word.
Listen, just finish your shift. It's safer than trying to leave in the middle of the night. We have one more event scheduled for tomorrow, a birthday. You'll be on day shift. Wear your uniform. Stay close to the animatronics and make sure they don't hurt anyone, okay?
The next day,
thank you for
during
the hydrate,
Jeremy's
Debbie.
day shift, one of the animatronics bit him in the head. This was infamously known as the bite of 87. Meanwhile, Afton successfully got the pizzeria shut down. The local newspaper wrote about the incident, saying, after being open only a few short weeks, Freddy Fazbear's Pizza is closing its doors. The new animatronics will be scrapped due to possible malfunctions. However, the original characters are being kept in hopes of a possible reorganization of the company. Since the toy animatronics were now being scrapped, he knew he
Rip
could get
Toy
away with
Chica,
taking
my
their
queen.
endoskeletons. But he also knew that he couldn't risk showing his face at the pizzeria again, so he got his oldest son Michael to do the work for him. William was easily able to get Michael to do whatever he wanted. William was abusive and manipulative, while Michael was haunted by the guilt of what he did to his younger brother. Because of this, Michael basically acted as William's puppet. Michael showed up for the night shift at the now closed Freddy Fazbear's Pizza under a code name, Fritz Smith. At the end of his shift, he would successfully steal the toy animatronics endoskeletons for his father, causing him to get fired his first day on the job due to tampering with the animatronics. As it said in the local newspaper, while Fazbear Entertainment scrapped the toy animatronics, the original Freddy, Bonnie,
I feel
Chica,
like the
and
music
Foxy
that's
were
playing
going to
right
be
now
fixed
appeared
up
in my
and
lore story.
reused, and that's exactly what they did. After the 1987
This
Freddy's
sounds-
location
this
shut
sounds
down, they
familiar.
opened yet another location, this time using the exact same building as the first Freddy Fazbear's
I can't believe it's
Pizza.
been like
As you
20
can imagine,
years.
this didn't work out great for the business. People already had a bad impression of Fazbear Entertainment, so using the same building that the original murders took place in didn't help business. Customers barely showed up to the new pizzeria,
I swear I used
leading
this
to
song.
shut down by the end of 1993. Although this was bad news for Fazbear Entertainment, this was great news for William Afton. Afton was able to acquire the endos of the toy animatronics, but that wasn't enough. He needed all of the haunted endoskeletons, especially the ones in the original animatronics. Once the pizzeria shut down, Afton came up with a plan to steal the endos from the animatronics. Each pizzeria was designed with something called a safe room.
As always, if there is ever an emergency, please go to the designated safe room. Every location is built with one extra room that is not included in the digital map layouts programmed into the animatronics or security system. This room is hidden to customers, invisible to animatronics, and is always off camera.
This room was hidden from guests and invisible to the animatronics. Afton would use this to his advantage, luring each of the animatronics to the safe room and dismantling them one by one. The kids possessing these animatronics were the same kids he lured into the back room all those years ago. He planned to use the same trick to lure the same kids all over again.
God, I wish the Dead by Daylight FNAF map was always selectable. I would keep playing that game if I could keep going to that map.
It's a shame it was temporary.
Yeah,
It's
well,
like
it's like
that's funny.
it's in the game, but now it's just random every time you play. So it's like there's no way to guarantee it.
Oh, gotcha.
Foxy literally has a hole in his chest. We're saying that Foxy they couldn't see the kid in there?
Oh, easy solution. Just put a hole in the kid's chest.
Oh God, Traveling. I hope you die in a fire.
Once he finished dismantling each animatronic and stealing their endoskeleton, he brought them down to his underground bunker, where he would melt them all down into one liquid substance called Remnant. Not only did Afton rob these kids of their lives, he would use their souls long after they're gone for his own personal gain.
Aw.
No. Oh. man. Hell wouldn't be hard enough for this man.
No. No amount of torture is enough for William Afton. That was so sad.
By melting down the endos, he successfully created Remnant. This substance, containing the spirits of all of the missing children, was silver in color, and if kept at the right temperature, was malleable. Afton didn't want to risk testing the Remnant on himself, so he injected
I've definitely
it into
used
the
this song in
Funtime
my lure
animatronics.
series.
Once he did, the animatronics jumped to life. The experiment had worked. William Afton unlocked the power of life itself. After his successful experiment, he went back to Freddy Fazbear's Pizza to collect his old spring Bonnie suit. But once he got there, he was met with the spirits of the 5 missing children, trapping him inside the safe room. Cassidy, the spirit inside Golden Freddy, chased Afton around the room and forced him to get into the spring Bonnie suit. Cassidy was the most vengeful spirit of them all. Being spring-locked in the Fredbear suit was a painful and slow death, and he wanted to make sure that Afton knew what that felt like. At this point, Afton knew how a spirit could live on. As long as he was inside the suit, he knew he'd be back.
Yeah, I used this one before.
That's so fricked up. So he willingly died.
The spring locks
No,
snapped
it's not
shut,
by
forcing
accident.
him to go through what Cassidy went through. This was an act of revenge by Cassidy, and it wouldn't be the last. Afton was now confined to the safe room of the now shut down Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, and because of this, everything in his underground bunker was left abandoned. But even with Afton gone, the rental business continued on its own. All of the Funtime animatronics containing the spirits of the missing children and even his daughter Elizabeth were still being rented out during the day and then brought right back down to the bunker. All the spirits wanted to do was escape, but they were always put back underground. After Afton went missing, his eldest son Michael, who's been blindly helping his father, remembered what his father told him if he ever went missing. If William wasn't there to finish his work, Michael would do it for him. Afton's underground facility was always off limits to Michael, but since he was now gone, Michael had no choice. He took the elevator down to where his father worked every day. Although Michael was helping out his father,
God,
by
what I would
stealing
give
some
for
of
an
the endos
HD
from the
Sister
animatronics
Location
back in the
remake.
day, he never exactly knew what William was doing
Or
until he got down into
a
the
Secret
bunker.
of the Mimic style Sister Location, that would be incredible.
Secret of the Mimic was so good.
That was a great game.
Like, of all the ones I've seen, I think Mimic is my favorite.
Over the 7
and then
days
Sister
he
Location's
visited the
also
bunker,
up
he
there.
learned more
Mimic
about what
is
his
such a
father was
goddamn
up to.
good
He
game.
learned about the massive facility his father built, complete with multiple rooms conducting fear experiments. He learned the truth behind the Funtime animatronics and how they were actually designed to kidnap kids. And he learned
I'm not gonna lie,
through the voice
Michael's a bit of an
Baby
idiot.
exactly how his
Michael's
sister
just
died.
kind of
Little girl,
like
standing
drowning
by
by
herself.
in trauma.
My stomach opened, and there was ice cream. I couldn't move. At least, not until she stepped closer.
But as the week went on, Baby was conducting a plan of her own, a plan to escape the bunker using Michael's body. Elizabeth was no longer the person Michael remembered her as. She was entirely devoted to her father and would do anything to make him proud
Trauma
of her. At
himbo's
the end of the week, all of
hysterical.
the Funtime animatronics endos were scooped out, with all of them combining into one animatronic called Ennard. This creature, containing the spirits of the missing kids and Elizabeth, knew they wouldn't be able to escape the bunker looking like an animatronic. They needed a human body to walk
They needed a
around in.
flesh sack.
You are in the scooping room now. Funtime Foxy has already been here today. Funtime Freddy has already been here today. Melora has already been here today. Circus Baby has already been here today. I've been out before, but They always put me back. They always put us back inside. There's nowhere for us to hide here. There is nowhere to go when we look like this. But if we looked like you, then we could hide. If we looked like you, then we would have somewhere to go. The scooper only hurts for a moment.
Michael Afton's insides got scooped out and replaced by Ennard, helping all of the souls to
Rick
escape
Astley.
the facility. With every passing day after this happened, Michael looked more and more like a walking zombie. His skin was starting to turn purple, and people started to notice. Michael's body was no longer a good disguise for Ennard, so Ennard ejected itself from Michael. But because the scooper was also a remnant injector, when Michael Afton was scooped, he was also injected with remnant. The remnant made it so even after Ennard was gone, he was still able to survive. With Michael now back in full control of his body, he had a new mission. Although he did, one way or another, successfully free his sister from the underground facility, he also learned about all of his father's terrible misdeeds. His loyalty to his father turned to disgust. It was time for him to end all of this.
It's me, Michael. I did it. I found it.
It was right where you said it would be.
They were all
Really?
They didn't
Recognize me at first, but then
they
thought I was you.
And I found her. I
Put her back together.
Just like you asked me to. She's free now. But something is wrong with me. I should be dead, but I'm not. I've been living in shadows. There is only one thing left for me to do now.
I'm going to come find you. I'm going to come find you.
I'm going to come find you.
Good. Fuck him up.
That was
Michael
so.
would
That
spend
creeped me
years
out so
searching
much
for
when
his
Sister
father with
Location
no
first
luck,
dropped.
until a new ad in the local newspaper caught his attention. Someone decided to open something called Fazbear's Fright, the horror attraction. Local amusement park is getting ready to scare your socks off with a new attraction
Such bad
based on the
taste.
unsolved mysteries
Such
of Freddy
bad
Fazbear's
taste.
Pizza, featuring
It's not
actual
even been
relics
that
from
long
decades
since the
old pizza.
murders.
I know last time we made a joke about like a Columbine ride, but if we're talking like murders, like imagine like a horror. This is probably a bad choice because it's gonna probably exist at some point, but like an attraction based around Ted Bundy or someone, or like the Zodiac killer, like something that's like unsolved or whatever, like. That
What
it's
about
just
a
been
9/11
such-
tower drop?
Oh my god, Javelin. How do you always make it worse? God, like such a crazy, insensitive thing to open up this attraction.
This might just be a fucked up community. Maybe that's why the police are so incompetent. They're like, you know what? Maybe there's just a purge going on. People gotta die every day, right?
9/11, the 4D ride is diabolical, and I hate that it's in my chat.
This new attraction is guaranteed to bring back your childhood in the worst possible way, as if using the
Bro.
crimes of his father to
The
protect
way
himself
it's
wasn't
being
bad enough. They
advertised
also
is
went
so
back
much
to the old
worse.
pizzerias and collected any objects they could find to put on display at the attraction. Michael immediately applied for the job of the security guard with the sole intention of burning the place to the ground. When he got there, he saw the remnants of his past, the shells of all of the animatronics, missing every single one of their endoskeletons. He knew they could only find the shells of the animatronics because he and his father stole their endoskeletons all those years ago, leaving only the shells behind. On day 2 of working at the attraction, he got word that they found a real animatronic.
You're not gonna believe this.
Don't you lecture me with your $30
This
haircut.
real animatronic ended up being his father, still inside the spring Bonnie suit he died in decades ago. Even though his father was now in the building with him, he still decided to go through on his plan, all in an
Thank you for the
effort to
hot tub.
end his father once and for all. Michael then rigged the wiring in the building to catch fire, burning the horror attraction to the ground with his father inside.
Oh,
No, I know. I burned it all down! I burned them alive! I made us look like clowns! Our souls survived!
The local newspaper would write about the fire, saying a
Like
new
the
local
justice
attraction based on
after
an
the
ancient
king.
pizzeria chain burned down overnight. Authorities have not ruled out foul play, but at the moment it's
I'm gonna hate myself for saying this. Fazbear Fright's burning down like every other goddamn location in this freaking series. Is like if you did build the 9/11 attraction and then a god plane hit it. Like it's just like, well, guess what happened? Like, oh my god.
It'd be like if you had the,
although the fire destroyed
or like a
most of
balloon ride
everything
or
in the
some other
building,
like
William
train.
miraculously was able to survive. William was now free,
No.
roaming the outside world along with the souls of the missing children, Elizabeth, and Charlie inside the puppet. Since Michael wasn't able to end everything, someone else needed to step in. That someone was Henry Emily. Afton's old business partner and father of Charlie heard about the fire at Fazbear's Fright, along with the rumors of the various animatronic creatures now roaming the streets. Henry was determined to put an end.
Springtrap always defying death from the fire. It honestly does give Saul soap opera energy. Like every time that you think he dies, he's actually not dead, and like this time they got him for sure, but he's not. It's very much Saul could it, but I love it. It was a little ridiculous at first, but the longer that the franchise goes on, the funnier it gets that he's always surviving. But I think they moved away from that trope, so. Meh.
Wait, what about the puppet? So the puppet was still in one piece?
Yes, at this
But
particular point in time, the puppet is still in one piece.
Okay, so are these the only three left? The baby innards, the puppet, and Afton?
At this point, I believe so.
All of this.
It's only now that I understand the depth of the depravity of this creature, this monster that I unwillingly helped to create. As if what he had already done wasn't enough. He found a new way to desecrate, to humiliate, to destroy. As if the suffering wasn't enough. The loss of innocence, the loss of everything to so many people. Small souls trapped in prisons of my making, now set to new purpose, and used in ways I never thought imaginable. He lured them all back to a familiar place, back with familiar tricks. He brought them all together. Are they still aware? I hope not. It keeps me awake at night. I could make myself sleep, but not yet. Not until I undo what he has done and heal this wound. A wound first inflicted on me, but then one that I let bleed out to cause all of this. He set some kind of trap. I don't know what it was, but he led them there again. He overpowered them again, and he robbed them of the only thing that they had again. I don't know how those tiny
This
breaths
speech
of
hits
life
so
came
hard.
to inhabit those machines, but they will never find rest now.
You'd be
Not
such a
like
hero.
this.
Wait,
I have to
no.
call them all
Henry,
back.
Henry is a hero.
Together
Okay,
in
yeah.
one place.
By gathering all of the animatronics in one place and locking them in the same room, he would be able to burn them all to the ground for good, effectively freeing their spirits.
Oh, I
in
hope
the
his daughter
process.
gets to
In
feel
order
well.
to do this, Henry created a new restaurant called Freddy Fazbear's Pizza Place. He knew that the spirits and William couldn't resist coming back to a new location, even if it was all just a trap. Charlie was different though. She was smarter than the rest, so Henry knew she wouldn't be as easily fooled. So he created an animatronic called Lefty, standing for lore, encapsulate, fuse, transport, and extra.
I think I have a
Specifically
figure of
to
Lefty
capture
on
the
my
puppets
throne.
and
That's
bring
like
it to
Lefty
the
mixed with the
pizzeria.
puppet.
While
It's
trying to
so
find
goddamn
someone that
cool,
would
and
help
I've wanted
him
it for
carry out
so
his
long, so
plan,
I put it on my
one person
throne.
showed up for the job. A person who was also determined to finally end all of this. Michael Afton. Day after day, the animatronics
Michael's
roaming the
redemption?
streets would show up in the alleyway next to the pizzeria. Baby, aka Elizabeth, the souls of the missing children and the crying child, now appearing as Molten Freddy, Charlie and Lefty, and his father, William, all showed up in the back alley. Michael would then collect each animatronic and throw them into a facility under the pizzeria, designed to be a maze with no exit, where the animatronics would roam around without even knowing they're trapped, until the end of the week, where they would all be burned to the ground. With all of the souls, including William himself, now in one place, Henry's plan was in motion. As far as Elizabeth and William were concerned, this was a good thing. All of this remnant now in one place was all that they wanted, until Henry stepped in.
You played right into our hands. Did you really think that this job just fell out of the sky for you? No. This was a gift for us. You gathered them all together in one place, just like he asked you to. All of those little souls in one place, just for us. A gift. Now we can do what we were created to do and be complete. I will make you proud, Daddy. Watch, listen, and be full.
Connection terminated. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Elizabeth, if you still even remember that name, but I'm afraid you've been misinformed. You are not here to receive a gift, nor have you been called here by the individual you assume, although you have indeed.
I remember the hunt for the lore ending was so hard for this game.
Into a labyrinth of sounds and smells, misdirection, and misfortune. A labyrinth with no exit, a maze with no prize. You don't even realize that you are trapped. Your lust for blood has driven you in endless circles, chasing the cries of children in some unseen chamber, always seeming so near, yet somehow out of reach. But you will never find them. None of you will. This is where your story ends. And to you, my brave volunteer, who somehow found this job listing not intended for you. Although there was a way out planned for you, I have a feeling that's not what you want. I have a feeling that you are right where you want to be. I am remaining as well. I am nearby. This place will not be remembered, and the memory of everything that started this can finally begin to fade away, as the agony of every tragedy should. And to you monsters trapped in the corridors, be still, and give up your spirits. They don't belong to you. For most of you, I believe there is peace, and perhaps more, waiting for you after the smoke clears. Although for one of you, the darkest pit of hell has opened to swallow you whole. So don't keep the devil waiting, old friend. My daughter, if you can hear me, I knew you would return as well. It's in your nature to protect the innocent. I'm sorry that on that day, the day you were shut out and left to die, no one was there to lift you up into their arms, the way you lifted others into yours. And then, what became of you? I should have known you wouldn't be content to disappear. Not my daughter. I couldn't save you then. So let me save you now.
Aww.
It's time to rest. For you.
I love this
and
speech.
for those
It's so
you
good.
have carried in your arms. This ends
So well
for
delivered
all
too.
of us.
This is like actually in the game. It's like one of the best parts of the FNAF series, in my opinion.
Henry putting fire to the animatronics may have freed the spirits from the metal
That's
of
so
the
satisfying,
robots, but
too.
some of them still needed help actually moving on into the afterlife. This help would come from Charlie. She helped guide the spirits into the robots. Now she would help them move on. In the world of Five Nights at Freddy's, the way a spirit can move on is by them being put into a happy memory. The memory Charlie chose actually comes from the crying child and the day he got bit. Piece by piece, Charlie put that terrible, shattered memory back together, but this time she would change it into a happy memory. Instead of the crying child getting bit on his birthday, Charlie changed it so that all of the missing kids and Charlie would celebrate him, giving him a giant birthday cake. By changing that terrible memory into a happy one and attaching all of the spirits to it, they were able to successfully pass into the afterlife.
Yo, Charlie and Henry are the real heroes. Oh my god.
Henry's such a hero. Literally, like, kills himself in a fire to try to just put this to an end.
And he raised such a good kid.
Mm.
Is the white one,
Like I said,
crying
they were
child?
all able to move
There,
on,
I think it's. Oh.
except for one.
Oh, right. Good. Oh no, this is what you were talking about.
Yeah, this dude just never dies.
Cassidy,
No,
the most
we
vengeful
had
spirit
it.
of them all, wasn't done yet. He decided to
Oh.
attach his soul to Williams, making sure
Huh?
that William was unable to move on.
This I
By
don't
attaching
remember.
his spirit to Williams, he was able to trap Afton in an endless loop of death. He made Afton relive every one of his terrible
So that's how he's
misdeeds.
explaining.
The fear experiments, his
Okay.
underground bunker, and the pizzeria where Cassidy was killed. Afton experienced all of this while being attacked and killed over and over again by all of the animatronics from his past. Every time an animatronic would attack him, Cassidy would be there, reminding him that the suffering will never end.
We've only just begun. I will never let you leave. I will never let you rest.
He tried to release you. He tried to release us, but I'm not gonna let that happen. I will hold you here. I will keep you here, no matter how many times they burn us.
Cassidy knew that Afton didn't deserve the afterlife. He deserved to pay for what he's done for all of eternity.
That's true.
But
You know what? Fair.
if you keep up with the franchise, you know that that's not the end of the story.
Nope.
Like I said at the beginning of the video, making a FNAF timeline is not easy, no matter what anyone says. In broad strokes, you can explain the basic plot, but once you get down to the motivations and the why of everything, you have to start filling in the blanks yourself. Some people who've helped me fill in the blanks that I'd like to shout out are Right Host for his theory about Cassidy being spring-locked in Golden Freddy. I think that makes a lot of sense and is really satisfying for the narrative. Also, I'd like to shout out MattPat for his theory about Midnight Motorist. After trying to figure that minigame out for years, I think your explanation makes the most sense. It's important for me to say that no one except for Scott Cawthon himself knows the exact story he was trying to tell. So please make sure to watch other people's timelines as well and come to your own conclusion on everything. And when the time is right, I'll be back to tackle the newer games in this franchise. Until then, make sure to subscribe.
Okay, so I actually really like that he only covered like the core 6 games. I really actually enjoy that a lot. Cause once you start getting to the VR and Vanessa and everything, that's when it starts to hit like Saw levels of asinine. Let me get back to the camera.
It doesn't even fit into the canon kind of like pseudo thing.
It starts to become so much more like sci-fi horror, and like Afton comes back and then's burned again and comes back and is burned again, and then he's not actually Afton, it's the mimic this time, and Afton really was dead, and it's such Saw coded, and I'm getting a larger appreciation for it, that it is kind of like just insane how much it is.
No, I like the cleanness of this ending. I like that Henry manages to free all the souls. Some of them come back to torture Afton, but he deserves it. So good. I'm glad that he gets the worst ending.
Yeah.
And that Cassidy can.
And that's like pretty widely agreed upon, like that kind of that Cassidy or that's Williams hell eternally. I like when this series is a lot more grounded in the actual restaurants and the franchise locations, as opposed to when it starts to become like, oh well, this was Afton's memory and consciousness on cassette tapes that got infused into a digital robot, and that digital robot then leapt through a VR headset and possessed Vanessa, but left Vanessa. It just becomes so goddamn like confusing.
At that point, I'd rather they just move on to a new villain. Like, just let.
Well, that's kind
Afton
of what they
stay gone.
did. That's kind of what it happens, is that it's not actually Afton. We find out, and it's the Mimic, which is really the new villain, the Mimic, and kind of Vanessa / Fanny. So there is a degree of moving on, but it's just so goddamn asinine. But again, as a Saw fan, I kind of I'm growing to appreciate that.
If Mana was here, we can make the comparison of Xehanort from Kingdom Hearts, who just always finds a way to come back.
Hello, everyone that just came in. Canadian Justin, Cloud, welcome. You just missed the FNAF react. It's pretty fun. What the hell's the Mimic? It's like the new robot that Edwin created in the Secret of the Mimic game. Oh my god, I should replay that for Halloween. But when I tried to do it during the debut-a-thon, it kind of crashed everything. But it's really hard to explain because it's really not explained well. It's something that was created that can mimic any animatronic. But then it went haywire because the guy put his son's soul into it, and the son's soul is vengeful because he like died on. It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing, and I'm pretty glad that we watched a timeline that didn't include it because it starts to get really convoluted. And I am not very smart. I like when it's grounded in restaurants and it's like at this location these murders happened, and then it closed down, and then at this location these murders happened. I don't know.
So how do you feel Secret of the Mimic fits in? Like, do you think it's kind of standalone prequel that doesn't change what we just saw? Or do you think
no, it changes wider motivations in that, and some things like how Chica fits in, and how the Henry and William might not have actually created the core 4 animatronics and all that, but it doesn't change the wider story of like.
Oh yeah, how does that work with Henry being the creator?
That's the thing. That's like Mimic kind of undoes it, and it says that Edwin's wife Fiona actually designed the core 4, and then they stole those designs and stuff.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that, because like it'd be weird to make Henry a villain. Like,
yeah,
Afton,
they kind of make Henry a financial villain in that like apparently him and Afton kept making changes that they knew the Edwin's costume manor would not be able to keep up with. So that it made him go bankrupt because it was like basically a Hail Mary deal that they took. And they made him go bankrupt so they could buy his business for pennies and then get all the designs and stuff. So they made him like a capitalist villain, but not like a murder villain.
Like, he wouldn't kill anyone.
No,
but...
he wasn't a murderer. He just was a seedy business guy.
I mean, I guess he could have, repented, like, what was the brother's name again?
Michael?
Michael, yeah. Like, he was just kind of like a typical capitalist, venture capitalist, and then he kind of realized, this is fucked up.
Well, like, okay, it just gets confusing.